December 16th, 2024. 2024 is getting long in the tooth, huh? Well, we're coming off of that weekend of, and you may be watching this during the weekend of December 14th and 15th, where we have Mercury's station to go direct combined with the full moon. It's a very dynamic and confusing kind of energy. Mercury's station's always mercurial mishaps and such, and then we have the lunacy of the full moon combined. And the question now, is this going to extend into the coming week? And the answer is probably. This week, the first big event of the week is the sun's square to Neptune, and that happens on the 18th. That's Wednesday. Well, the early hours of the 18th, which means that really you're feeling it mostly on Tuesday, and then a bit of a linger on Wednesday. That's more or less the day that we'll be feeling it. Tuesday, Sun square Neptune. The bold, big purpose Sun in Sagittarius, ideas, beliefs, things that we truly are invested in on the one hand, and Neptune, which can be, inspiration, and it can be other realities, but it's also sometimes just plain old delusions. And so these two things get together, and what do we have here? We have this sort of my beliefs are the most important, and so on. It can go two ways, actually, because this isn't an opposition or a conjunction. It's a square, and it's likely to be felt internally. So some folks will get a little full of themselves. And but then again, some folks will get a little deflated. Neptune can deflate as much as it inflates. And so you can go either ways. Nonetheless, it's not a particularly realistic energy as we begin the week. We also begin the week with the moon in Cancer, where the feel is one of being a little bit more protective and a little bit more reserved. Now, hopefully that'll help, although the moon is still very, very close to being full. There's still a lot of lunar energy infusing things during the beginning part of the week, and actually for most of this week. So there is a high energy that is behind this Sun-Neptune aspect that is, start to feel it Monday, very big on Tuesday, lingers on a bit on Wednesday. Once again, don't take things too seriously. That is, yes, the watchword. The watchword for December is don't take things too seriously. In addition to Sun, Neptune, Mercury is just starting to go forward from his retrograde. So no, it isn't. I mean, technically, I suppose if you have to go out and buy some gifts for Christmas or something like that, some electronics or something, it's technically, I suppose, okay. It's still not the best time. So watch out for confusions and snafus as we begin the week on the mercurial level. And Mars is retrograde still, so don't expect a lot in terms of the energy to be pouring forth in a directed fashion like you might like. So yeah, the beginning part of the week, take a little bit of a break. Now the moon goes into Leo later on Tuesday through Thursday, and this is a well, we'll have to see. The thing is, the moon is in Leo. It's still pretty bright, just a couple of signs away from Gemini. It's a waning gibbous moon. Still plenty of energy. Should make for some good midweek fun. The Neptune Sun aspect wouldn't really interfere with fun. Maybe a little too much fun, actually. But the caveat is that the first thing that the moon does later on Tuesday, as gets into the sign, first thing is the opposition from Pluto. And this is exactly what we sort of have to think about constantly when it comes to these aspects here. The first thing that happens is, and the Sun Neptune thing is not quite exact when the moon, it's still building when the moon opposes Pluto. That's kind of a bit of a recipe for a reaction, So we'll have to see how the Leo moon opposite Pluto plays out, right? We have to understand that this is going to be a work in progress that we'll see over the course of many, many months. But the moon in Leo is looking for fun, it's looking for attention, it's looking for the individual to shine. And Pluto in Aquarius is kind of the voice of the collective sitting in judgment. And we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I mean, on the collective level, you'll see all sorts of things. And the aspect is over pretty quickly. I mean, by the time you go to bed on Tuesday night, I don't know what time you go to bed. Who am I to tell you? For us, stay up all night Tuesday, for all I know. But by the time I go to bed on Tuesday, the aspect will already be past. And how much it lingers on, whether the moon says, "Oh gosh, that encounter with Pluto really shook me up," and continues throughout the rest of the sign for the next couple of days, or whether the moon says, "Well, that was rough, but I mean, at least it's over with now and we can get on with the fun." We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'm hoping for the latter, but we can't be sure. Anyway, midweek ought to be pretty good also because as we build forward on the 19th, which is Thursday, we have the aspect of Jupiter trine to Venus. I'm right about that. Yes, Venus is in Aquarius, and she's getting a trine from her friend Jupiter, who is retrograde in Gemini. Nice social kind of aspect. Again, the types of parties and gatherings that go on at this time of year, around this time of year. This was a really nice aspect for that. Just socializing in groups. It's the middle of the week, but who cares? And again, that's going to linger on a little bit. That'll linger on, I would say, Tuesday with a few caveats, but Wednesday and Thursday, really nice for midweek fun. Okay, then the moon goes into Virgo at the weekend, and we have the solstice. The solstice is on the 21st, and that is, come on, help me here. The 21st is Saturday, and it happens at 4:20 a.m. Eastern Time. 4:20 a.m. Eastern Time, that would be 9:20 Greenwich, 1:20 a.m. Pacific Time, if you're counting. So we have the shortest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, and we are at a turning point now. The sort of the return of the light begins. It's at the darkest point that the return of the light comes. Again, this year we have, because of Mars retrograde and a few other things, we have a little bit of it always takes a little bit of time. It's not like, on the 21st things start changing. It's always a few weeks after we have to build up and through. But it is the turning point, which is, it's paradoxically, it's the darkest time, and then it's the awareness that we're coming up towards the light. Remember, this is the season of all the different festivals of light, the returning of the light. Okay, so that's what we're kind of looking for this solstice. As every solstice, we're getting the return of the light coming back. The actual solstice itself, the moon in Virgo will be opposite to Saturn in Pisces. It's a strange kind of thing to sort of encode into this. Solstice charts are often looked at as being uh, telling for the next few months, the next 3 months or so, until we get to the equinox in March. So it's a strange kind of energy to have baked into the solstice. We'll have to see how that plays out. It seems, the cosmic mother and the cosmic father in opposite signs, neither one of them in any particular debility or dignity or anything like that. Saturn, a little bit tough time in Pisces. The Virgo moon is a very sensitive moon, but this is a collective aspect, and I don't know if the collective is going to be particularly sensitive. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, if we indeed can follow through and pay attention to it, because that might be a bit of a challenge anyway. But we come out of the solstice. Eventually, the days are going to get longer. Those of you in the Northern Hemisphere strongly, well, no matter what hemisphere you're in, actually, you should go and see where the sun rises, or if you're not, if that's not your thing, see where the sun sets on that day, and then keep following it around to the equinox and then to the next solstice, the Cancer solstice, and you can see where the sun is moving and how it moves. And that gives you a little bit of a sense of this cycle of the year. It's easy enough to do. You only have to go outside like 4 nights a year and look at the sun, or alternatively get up at 4 morning. That's a bigger ask, of course, to get up at sunrise for all of these things. But it's kind of fun to chart the movement around. You really see how dramatic it is. So the sun will barely be making it above the horizon, and this is the beginning of the new solar cycle. And finally, for those of you that have been asking about the Saturn return, we will have a Saturn return video. It'll probably be coming out, let's say it should come out really on Wednesday. It'll come out on Wednesday, the 18th. Sun, Neptune be damned. We're gonna give it a shot there. So every intention of getting that out. Then, if not, we can wait till the next week and we'll see when Jupiter squares Saturn and we do the last forecast for the year. I'll also do a little look ahead to 2025, but I will bundle that into the last forecast on the 30th rather than putting it out as a separate video. All right. Got it? Murky start to the week, and then good midweek for socializing. And then the weekend, I mean, it should be fine. There's no thing about it that should be problematic, really. It's the solstice, but that shouldn't be much to us. We're getting close into the holiday season, and well, we're in the holiday season. We're getting close to Christmas and Hanukkah, and we're getting closer to New Year's. So generally good vibes, and if we have a little bit more business as usual, well, not so bad.